My name is Kwabena Chencheni. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today. To our very first story, and teachers and students of the Mafi Wojrolo JHS in the Central Tone District of the Volta region are appealing to government to renovate their school block, which has now become a death trap. Cracks have developed in the upper and lower parts of the uncompleted structure, which is more than 30 years old. The students fear the structure could collapse on them anytime soon. Joseph Opogako was in the community and has come through with his report.
This structure with very visible cracks houses more than 60 JHS students at the Mafi Wojrolo Primary School in the Central Tong District. This structure was built somewhere in the 1980s and it has remained same till date. No efforts to get it painted, no efforts to get it renovated, and currently the cracks are very visible in it, the iron rods are exposed, and both teachers and students are concerned about their safety continuing to learn under such a structure.
My name is Anu Achuka. I'm Form 3. We don't feel well because it can be a wind blow and the structure will collapse. At this time, if I'm looking at those ones, they are collapsing. It can cause damage to our lives. We don't know when it will collapse. I'm appealing to the government so that it can come to our aid to help us by building us another structure, which will be better than this one.
And if that doesn't happen, what are your fears continuing to learn under such a structure?
Our fears are that we are not safe because we don't know when an accident will occur. So we are not safe. We are appealing to the government to come and put up another building for us.
My name is Duche Naomi. I'm in Form 3. As for the structure, we don't like the way the buildings are because sometimes there will be rain so that we don't know which time accident will come. It affects us to listen to a teacher what he is teaching us.
I'm Gabriel Sachafia, a teacher in the school, GHS department. If you look at the beams are too heavy, so putting much pressure on the pillars. Therefore, it also appeared that the engineers who work on that they couldn't do good work. So you could see that the beam is falling apart from the wall. Therefore, the wall is a collapsing area. Anything can happen anytime. So we are not safe at that place too. Appeal was made to the GES at the district level. The same thing we did over there. They came to observe, but they said it is not within their financial strength. So they are also appealing to other stakeholders who can help. So as of now, we have not received any info or any help yet.
Let's stay with education. And Professor Albert Joseph Kwam, the author of the Natural Science for Primary Schools Activity-Based Pupils Book 1, which illustrated the human head as a part of the body used for carrying load, has defended his publication. According to Professor Kwam, the research on which the illustration was based was a fair representation of the actual situation in the country. Speaking on the Super Morning Show earlier today, Professor Kwam told host Kojo Yangson he is no mean person in terms of his academic qualifications, regardless of what the public may perceive of him following the outcry generated by Kofi Bentzel's social media condemnation about his publication.
For me, if you take Ghana as a whole, right, we have the rural setting is of larger population than that of the cities. Right.
So in the rural areas they do it. But that's
a lot.
That's not what your head was made for. The beach was not made for defecating. But they do it there. Would you put that in a textbook? That the function of the beach is to defecate?
No.
Okay, let's take some calls.
But here we are talking about activity-based learning. Carrying load is an activity. In science, you need to have a large sample area before you can arrive at the answer.
If we had gone to the villages, what would we have heard?
You will get more of people telling you that the head is used to carry load.
But you even got some in the city. So the fact that children will say that is not disputed.
And remember,
does that make it right?
There are muscles here that support the neck.
Where? In your neck?
Yes, that support the neck for that activity. No, the neck. the neck, the head.
You're pointing to your head.
No.
You're saying neck.
No, the head. Muscles in the neck that support the head for that activity.
Which activity?
I'm talking about carrying load. So
are the muscles in your neck not supposed to carry your head? Does that mean your head is then also supposed to carry something else?
The head.
Your head is heavy. It's about 20% of the weight of your body.
Yes.
So if you have muscles in your neck, it's for carrying your head.
Yes.
Does that mean your head is also
yeah, exactly.
That's what you put
yeah,
in the textbook.
Yeah. But again, probably maybe from the callers, maybe I'm a quack person. I have a BSc in biological sciences, Masters of Philosophy in biological sciences, and PGCE in education. So it's not just
PGC is the UK.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And very soon I'll finish my PhD from Key University.
He however expressed disappointment at the manner in which Vice President of Imani Ghana, Mr. Kofi Bentil, condemned his book on social media without first drawing his attention to the errors.
I will say that the way Kofi Bentil spoke, I'm very sad about it, because if you feel you have a point, he could have called me, not put it in social media, just to destroy my reputation. Again, the point he is making, if Ghana Education Service, or for that matter, Ministry of Education, feel that at that time they didn't need that, they should have told me to change it. But yet, because it's one of the functions of the head, they allowed me to use it for 5 years now. So why now? But anyway, I'll thank everyone. I will thank all the listeners for the audience giving me, especially Joy FM. And I hope for Ministry of Education, I'll have time to have a conversation with them so that we see the way forward for our future children.
To some more stories now, and a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana is calling on opposition parties in the country to desist from sabotaging governments and rather focus on offering constructive criticisms for the development of the nation. Dr. Ransford Jampo, in an interview with Joy News, said the need for opposition parties to desist from continually criticizing governments without providing alternatives is imperative if the country is to see any significant improvements in development.
They are not only there to oppose. I mean, sometimes they behave, they suffer from what I refer to as opposition disease, where they subject everything that the government does to cynicism, subjecting government policies to annihilating criticisms, destructive criticisms and all that. That is not the way to go. What they have to do is to offer constructive criticism, and it is up to the government to see whether there is reason, whether there is good reason or good point in the criticisms that are being leveled. It is up to them to offer alternative policy prescriptions. And when that happens, the government must look into it and see whether those policy prescriptions that are being offered by the opposition can also be factored into what the government is doing. But if the government feels that they are good policies, but at that particular moment those policies cannot be, factored into what it is doing, I mean, so be it. So my point is that in the interest of tolerance and accommodation, yes, it is the duty of the opposition to offer constructive criticisms and to proffer policy alternatives. Okay, the government, as much as possible, must try to ensure that such policy alternatives are also given consideration as it prepares its own policy prescriptions and implement them. But if it becomes necessary that, look, we cannot at this particular time factor what the opposition is talking about into our own policy, I mean, so be it.
Still on politics, and the opposition New Patriotic Party is accusing the national security of abuse of power as it questions the recent arrest of businessman Dr. Atani Ayo. And we'll be bringing you a lot more on this because that particular media briefing we were told just ended a short while ago. We'll be getting in touch with our correspondent on the ground to bring you the very latest on this. But we're taking a break here on News Today. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. My name is Kwabena Chenche Hineboating. To some more stories now. A corrupt media. That's the description of journalism in Ghana by the flag bearer of the People's National Convention, Dr. Edward Mahama. But the question today is how credible these assertions are and how much of a problem this is going into an election year. Yaobodo Ayebwafo is the director of newspapers at the Graphic Communications Group. He has been providing some answers.
I will not deny that there are some journalists who might be corrupt and they have been used to corruptible practices. But I cannot conjecture that 99.5% of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt. If 99.5% of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt, we will not have seen the vibrancy of the media the way that we have seen it. So it can never be true. Except that even 1.1% of journalists are corrupt. That is bad enough, and that must be resisted.
Let me find out this perception. I mean, it may not be true, like you're claiming that we have as much as 99.5% of the Ghanaian media being corrupt. But even the mere perception of this thing being a possibility, how much of a problem is that? Particularly seeing that we are in an election year.
No, definitely, that's what I am saying. That is even 0.001%. Of the journalists are corrupt. That is bad enough, and that's why we need to fight it. You know, we need to resist any attempt at that. Now, we cannot say that there are not decent journalists around, but there may be a few people who have soiled their hands with political money. I mean, there are some of us. I mean, look. I mean, they can put this microscope on us and see what we have been doing, whether we have taken anybody something before we do the things that we do.
Okay, so
I can also look at what happens, and some of the revelations that have come about through journalists, and if indeed that number of journalists were that bad, nobody will have heard about stuff.
Okay, it's good you speak of some of these things because other people have suggested that for you to get a particular bill or motion or any agenda to move forward, you just pass it through the media. You can just get a few people, give them some money and push it. And some have also complained that because of the poor working conditions, particularly in the media, it makes those persons involved in the profession a lot more susceptible to bribery and corruption. Are these not fair assessments?
No, I'm saying that I will not deny that, you know, because there have been incidents, there have been instances where people have openly fought over money and all that.
Well, journalists have fought over money.
Yes, I mean when they have gone on assignment and in the distribution of whatever is given to them, they have exchanged words and all that. Yeah, but those are true. We cannot run away from them. But it can never be true that 99.something% of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt. That's why I'm saying that if Dr. Mahama, does he know the number of journalists in Ghana? I mean, how many of them that he has personally had encounter with? We have given him coverage as editor of Graphic during his presidential period. We gave him coverage for all those years. Did he ever hear or pass anything before we did what we did? We did not do that. So I'm not denying the fact that there may be corrupt journalists, but I am saying that for heaven's sake, it cannot be 99.something% of the Ghanaian journalists.
President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afal Moni, has meanwhile dismissed the claims calling for empirical evidence to back Dr. Edward Mahama's assertion. He says despite challenges journalists in the country face, it will be unrealistic and erroneous for anyone to suggest more than 99% of journalists in the country are corrupt. He adds that the GJA is working towards improved working conditions for journalists to dispel perceptions that the Ghanaian media is corrupt.
First of all, we'll question the empirical basis of this conclusion that 99% of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt. And don't know when the survey was conducted and what went into the survey and what the findings are. And but we're the first to admit that journalists are human, and like all human institutions, perfection is an impossible goal. So we have a fair share of imperfection, and we'll also be the first to admit that we are not whiter than white, neither are we purer than pure. But the virtue of our profession, the nature of our profession imposes on us.
Okay, so Mr. Fomoni, some would say these are exceptions. These names you are mentioning are exceptions, and I mean, let's put even the percentage figure aside. 99.5% for you, you might say is a bit on the high side, but even the mere perception that majority of Ghanaians, majority of journalists in Ghana are corrupt, is that not a worrying thing?
And I think the worry will derive from the fact that it has. That's a has some empirical basis. As I said, we are questioning the authenticity of that.
So you don't believe that majority of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt?
I don't believe. I don't believe the majority of Ghanaian journalists are corrupt, because that issue. We don't have a question of just bandying anything about. No, as I said, I admitted that we are human. So corruption is something rare in the media. Which is the first to admit.
Mr. Fomoni, there've been instances, there've been a number of instances where we are told journalists have either fought over Soleil or have gone to the Flagstaff House and have been given monies purported to be bribes and all. Are these all not things that lend credence to this particular claim by the PNC flag bearer?
And this is what I said, that we be the first to admit that we are not perfect, because perfection in any human institution is an impossible goal. So it's not possible for journalists to be perfect. So we are not boasting. We are not boasting. We are not are we pride ourselves on any sinless perfection. We have sinners, professional sinners in the media, but that does not obscure the fact that many of them are also doing well.
Assuming, without admitting that this perception is even true, or this statement put out is even true, some are attributing it to the fact that the GJA, your very own association, you've done a pretty terrible job at fighting for the rights of journalists, ensuring that journalists are paid the right amounts of money due them. Would you say there's a fair assessment on your part?
No, but this is a reflection of what's happening in this country. We all know that the doctors will go on site because they believe that they don't get what is due them, and we ready for.
Let's return to that story where the NPP, that's the largest opposition party in the country, is accusing the national security of abuse of power as it questions the recent arrest of Nigerian businessman Dr. Ayo Eni. And joining me live now over the phone lines is my colleague Kwacha Freniama, who was at this particular press conference and has a lot more for us now. So, Alfred, tell us much more about what the NPP means when they say the BNI is abusing their powers.
Well, Communications Director of the party, Nana Komia, begins by saying that the actions of the BNI and the National Security Advisor lends credence to reports that the vehicles, in this case, indeed belong to the NCC. It talks about the arrest of the property owners and the videos indicating the vehicles being driven out of the site. But Nana Komia also mentions that ordering the arrest of his neighbors, I'm talking about the National Security Advisor, simply over an issue relating to a violation of his privacy is certainly an abuse of power, because this is a civil dispute. But one other key issue that the MPP raised at this press conference, they are accusing the National Democratic Congress of funding what they described as pseudo political parties just to derail the efforts of the MPP insofar as winning the 2016 general election is concerned. And I'm wondering what the basis of this allegation is.
Well, we have in our possession a tape recording of a telephone conversation between Mr. Odike and another party. And on the tape, he's heard very clearly telling the other party that they should be patient, is in touch with Asedun Ketia, and that the monies will be coming very soon. and that they should not go behind his back and dealing with the NDC and the Electoral Commission. Because any move that they make behind his back, Asidim Ketia calls him to tell him, and the Electoral Commission also calls him to tell him. So they should all rally behind him, and that the money will soon come.
And so this, you say, recently the UPP launched their party colors, and you feel the similarity so far as the colors there and the MPP on red, blue, and white is to confuse your supporters?
You know, when these UPP, they recently launched their party colors. I'm sure you are aware. If you look at the colors, even from a distance, you would see they bear a striking resemblance to the NPP colors. At that time, we're wondering why a new party that is trying to establish its identity will choose colors that resemble that of another political party, and hence may confuse his own supporters. We're wondering why it was doing that. Now that we've got it confirmed that they are being funded by the NDC, it is clear that they are on an agenda to limit the chances of the NPP in the election.
All right, that's the communications director of the NPP. And then I come here there.
Right. Many thanks for your time. And that was Kwacha Frenema, my senior Joe News correspondent, and he's been joining us from the MPP headquarters, where that particular media briefing, we are told, ended a short while ago. It has to do with the MPP accusing the Bureau of National Investigations of abuse of power. They've also been accusing the ruling National Democratic Congress of wasting the taxpayers' money on pseudo-political parties. You heard him speak there a brief while ago to the communications director of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Akomia. To some more stories now. And commanding officer of the formed police unit, Chief Superintendent Na Hamza Yakubu, has assured the police is putting in place all the necessary security measures to ensure a peaceful election this year. Chief Superintendent Yakubu was speaking on the AM show with Mamavi Usoboji and Roland Walker earlier this morning.
The police is not only thinking about plans for political parties, but for the citizens of Ghana, which of course includes the political parties. So our plans in this election year is actually to come up with a comprehensive package that entails providing a serene security atmosphere that would enable voters, politicians, political parties, state officials like the EC, the media, everybody that is involved in making the thing a success, get the protection that is required. So those are our plans. But specifically for political parties, the police administration has already started engaging all political parties in discussions. This way, it is believed that we would get to know the problems that are likely to crop up and whatever fears that the various political parties have. So we can quickly include that into our plans and get the ball rolling.
Do we have maybe a number of police officers that you're thinking of allocating to the political parties? So MPP, NDC, CPP?
Yeah, not to the political parties, but to presidential candidates and their running mates.
Okay.
The police administration has engaged the political parties, and it has been agreed. The police administration has decided that for every presidential candidate, 4 persons would be assigned.
4 police officers?
4 police officers.
Is there a certain rank? Sorry.
The rank?
Yes, of the police officers who will be guarding them.
Well, not specific. What is even interesting here is, before I get into that, and for the running mates, they will have 2 officers. Now with the ranking, in fact, the politicians or the political parties have been given the option of choosing police officers they would feel comfortable with.
Oh, really?
This looks a bit strange, but then there is a reason why we think we should do that. It's part of the dialoguing system, and I believe you and I know as a fact that they've always expressed issues of mistrust. And this cuts across. Anytime this party is in power, the police belongs to the governing party. So the opposition parties would then castigate the police. You are doing the bidding of the government, yes.
Yeah.
To some issues of health now, and the new Shai Osudoku District Hospital at Dodowa should be admitting its first set of patients in about 4 to 6 weeks. The district hospital is expected to significantly improve healthcare for the people of Dodowa and surrounding communities who for a while now have had to rely on an ill-equipped health facility.
The new Shai Osudoku District Hospital forms part of a $175 million agreement between the Ministry of Health and NMC Infrastructure Limited Investment to deliver 6 new district hospitals to raise the standards of healthcare across the country. The 120-bed facility was commissioned by the President on Monday, but Medical Superintendent Dr. Kennedy Brighton says it will become operational in 6 weeks.
To start with, the place is set, but you see, as usual, there are new equipments, and it's a new facility as well. The system is totally computerized. So what it means is that whatever we're going to do now is more or less like paperlessness. You need to practicalize the knowledge. So what it means is that we are going to have in-house training. We are going to train staff from the old hospital now on the machines they are going to use here. And that should take us about some few weeks to do this.
The Minister of Health, Alex Segbefi, assured his ministry will make available resources needed for training of staff. On maintenance, he said, best practices will be adopted.
I will mention briefly that there is a maintenance and engineering agreement, and the maintenance service will be provided by the main contractor through a 3-year maintenance agreement as part of the contract. Efforts will be made to facilitate technology transfer to in-house technical staff to continue with planned preventive maintenance of the hospital and equipment after the 3 years. There is so much pressure on government resources to the extent that communities that have benefited from the provision of such infrastructure should not expect government to be responsible for its maintenance. To this end, the Ministry of Health is actively seeking best practice in the management of middle levels hospitals with the view of institutional functional management structures for the effective running of the facility right from the onset.
Commissioning the new facility, President John Dramani Mahama assured of more infrastructure works in the health sector.
Our government adopted a policy to build a first-class health facility in every district of our country in order to improve access to health care for our people. As President, today's ceremony and the completion of the Shai Osudoku Hospital reflects an unwavering commitment to my 2012 social contract with the people of Ghana to expand access to quality health care across the length and breadth of our dear country, Ghana. Aside from the Shai Osudoku District Hospital, we have a district hospital coming up at Abetifi. We have another at Fomena. We have another at Sekendi, one at Kumawu, and the 6th one at Garu Timpani. And under the program, we are upgrading the facilities in another hospital, and that is the Takrade European Hospital. I'm happy, and the people of Dodowa should be proud, and the team that worked on the Shai Osudoku District Hospital should be proud, because this is the first of the 6 hospitals to be completed.
The 120-bed Shai Osu District Hospital also comes with an accident and emergency wards, an intensive care unit, diagnostics and physiotherapy centers, pediatric units, maternal and dental units, as well as accommodation for the staff. Matilda Pomaga, for Joy News, Dodowa.
We are taking a break here on News Today, but still ahead, there's business, sports, entertainment, as well as international updates, all coming up in the next few minutes. Stay with us.
And now time to do some business, and questions are already being raised about the fate of Dr. Abdul Nashiri Ishaku as the new governor of the Bank of Ghana, especially in such an election year which could see a change in government. President Mahama yesterday appointed the second deputy governor of the central bank as the new governor following the exit of Dr. Kofi Wampa. But some are asking, what if a new government takes power? Could there be a change? Well, Joy Business editor Emmanuel J has been engaging banking consultant Nana Otuachampong on this and other issues, and first ask him whether about questions raised about Dr. Ishaku's appointment ahead of the first deputy governor Millicent Nah are legitimate.
There isn't anything untoward as far as corporate governance standards are concerned, because the information available publicly is that the first deputy is due for retirement soon, and this is a position that you want to bring stability into the market. So if he's due to go within a year, why do you appoint him in place of somebody who will stay for 4 years? That is, if this government stays in power.
Do you suggest that any new government may choose to review this decision by choosing another person?
Definitely.
Now, workers of mining firm Goldfields Ghana who were bound to lose their jobs can now heave a sigh of relief as the company has shelved the plan, at least for now. The company confirmed to Joy Business, citing the stability agreement is secure with government some days ago. The agreement will see the firm pay fixed tax and royalty rate over the next 10 years. The Group Chief Executive Officer of Goldfields, Nick Holland, says this put them in a better position to maintain the about 1,000 workers who were to be laid out.
Depending on what happened to Damang, there were a couple of thousand people who could be affected. Some of them are workers, some of them are contractors. So clearly, I think with this decision that's come down and with this agreement that we've concluded, it puts us in a good spot now where we can protect jobs and also where we can potentially create jobs. So I think it certainly takes the immediate risk of that kind of issue off the table and puts us in a position where I think we can get a positive outcome for all of the stakeholders.
So that'll be it for business. You can join me on the marketplace between 1 to 1:30 for more. We'll be dilating, we'll be dissecting a lot more. We'll be speaking to the London Stock Exchange concerning that particular advisory group set up to establish and then also support the market across the continent. Stay tuned with us. Next is the sports.
So like I mentioned, it's time now for some entertainment. Yes, Gloria Nyakum is G joining me now in studio with the very latest. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, KKB. How are you doing?
I'm great.
It's been a while.
Outfit.
Thank you. I'm ready to fly.
I can see.
Okay. All right. So in entertainment today, earlier last week, I met up with the man, William Ado, who was in need of 5,000. That money has been raised, of course. Okay. But in our conversation, he talked about the fact that the Nigerian movie industry is doing great and is contributing to the economy of Nigeria. Let's take what he has to say. I'll tell you something more.
Sure.
Nigeria currently, the us bring in so much money, or if not equal to what the oil industry is giving them.
All right, so that's William Ado, but Chanjayini, he actually disagrees. The man Kojo Datsin, who was by radio today, he disagrees that Nigerian movies are making money. Yes, they're making money, but they're making money because they've got a huge market. They've got the financial capability. Ghanaians don't have, but he says that Ghanaians actually do better movies than Nigerians do.
It's partly true. At the same time, you can say that the Nigerians have copied us, because I honestly believe that we started getting the industry exciting before they did. But they have the money power. They have the financial wealth. And to get this industry moving, you need money. you need money, and they have it. And then we are too timid. I remember during Home Sweet Home, a few occasions we went to look for locations. And the kind of reaction we got from people who are not prepared to give out their houses or give out their premises, they were thinking of what people will say about them.
All right, so that's the actor Kojo Datsin, who is currently recuperating from stroke. He suffered stroke 3 years ago.
Yeah, I never knew. Really.
Yes, he's getting better.
Wow.
He's getting better. You know, in the States, it's better than what he was like 3 years ago. All right.
Wish me a speedy recovery. Really.
Yes. Let's talk about the group prior. You know the group prior are back, but they're just sued.
I don't know. I really don't know what's going on now. They are just, I don't know.
You know, we heard that Annie Dusty was joining them, and apparently he's just a manager or a member of the management team.
Okay, so he's not joining us.
No, he's not joining prior. Okay. But Becky had a conversation with them, and they tell us that ego was actually what splitted the group.
No, not at all, not at all. Ego.
What's the situation?
Yes, I won't debunk that thing completely. Sometimes ego steps. You know, when show business, you know, or stardom takes you and comes to you, and you don't know how to manage it. Sometimes it gets to you, and you sometimes go, you know, do certain things that you're not supposed to do. But I can say for a fact that ego doesn't contribute 100% to breakups in groups. It's diverse issues that sums up to sometimes groups breaking up. But most importantly, it's decisions people make that, you know, sometimes they end to regret, some today.
All right, so there's more entertainment in our subsequent bulletin, more on Kojo Datsin, more on prior, and make a date with us on LTE. Thanks for your attention. Kenchahini.
Yes, I just wanted to say something about that, but what's going to change now?
What, in prior?
Yeah.
They're waiting for Eugene. Once Eugene joins them, that's it.
Will he join them?
Hopefully.
Okay. Many thanks for your time anyway. But that was Miss G joining us with entertainment. But that's how we wrap up our news this afternoon on your Joy. On News Today, I beg your pardon, on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chencheni. Remember to visit myjoyonline.com for a lot more news. John Amakun is standing by with the marketplace. Many thanks for your time.